Hi boys and girls, it's me, Mr. O'Connell, principal at Jocks School, and I'm here with principal of Heron Pond School, Mr. Saunders, and Sparky from the Milford Fire Department is joining us today as well. We're so happy that you could see this special video that we prepared for you. Our video is all about fire safety, how to be safe in an emergency involving fire. And I hope that you enjoy the video and that you learn a lot.
Boys and girls, you're going to have a homework assignment. So you're going to have a video with Jason from the Milford Fire Department that's going to teach you all about fire safety at home. He's going to talk about how to think about your house and keep your family safe and what you would do in an emergency. And because of that, you're going to have a homework assignment that's going to look like this, and it's going to have some information for you. And your homework assignment is going to be on the back to create a drawing of your home and plan an exit route that you would use in an emergency, as well as where you would meet up with your family if you had to evacuate your home. There'll be more information in the video that you'll get from Jason from the fire department, and Sparky here is going to be coming by to collect these papers at a later date, and we're going to have you get these back to school by October 30th so they can get picked up, and we can get them over to the fire department to make sure everyone's safe and everybody has a plan.
All right, boys and girls, enjoy our video. See you later.
Take care.
All right, how we doing, my friends? My name is Firefighter Jason, and I want to start by thanking Mr. O'Connell and Mr. Saunders for allowing us to do this great fire safety lesson for all of you guys, whether you're in school or whether you're at home. So today, I have my magic house. And this magic house does all sorts of things, because let's face it, my friends, all of us are spending a lot more time at home due to the pandemic. So what we're going to do today is take a tour through my house, right? And you boys and girls can do this either in your classrooms at school or at home with family members, and kind of do a fire safety scavenger hunt and see if we can find certain types of fire hazards and then correct them, all right? So with everybody kind of doing this weird remote learning type of thing, everybody is using electronics, whether it be a Chromebook or some other type of laptop, right? And most of us probably have a desk at home. Now guess what? Those things are powered by electricity. Well, electricity can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing, all right? So what I want you to do is take a look down here underneath my desk in my house. And right in there, my friends, is a rat's nest. That's an absolute mess of wiring right there. That is a bad thing. If we put too many wires into one outlet, we get arcs and sparks. And my friends, arcs and sparks can do a couple things. Number one, they can hurt us, they can shock us. Number two, electricity can start fires. So what I want you to do is take a look around at your home and see if you can find things like that, okay? Not very hard, but I'm willing to bet most of you folks have something like that in your house. All right, now, how many people here like to cook? That's actually one of my hobbies at home, right? And I cook here at the firehouse as well. Did you know that cooking fires are the leading cause of most home fires, especially with the holidays coming up? And again, let's face it, some of you folks might be home alone for an extended period of time, and you may have to cook. Now, I want you to remember, we have what we call Firefighter Jason's 3-foot rule. Around the stove, there is a magical 3-foot kid-free zone. Not only kids, but pets. So if you have dogs, cats, things like that. So anytime we are in that area of the stove, we have a magical 3-foot rule. That means no little brothers, sisters, or pets within 3 feet of that stove. Now, a couple things. If we ever do have a stove fire, I'm going to teach you something you can do here. And it's actually really, really simple. Number one, you do not ever, ever, ever want to put water on a grease fire. That can be very, very bad and make the fire that much bigger. So, in the event we do have a fire in our stovetop, very, very simple thing to do. And you can see my pot's starting to smoke here, so that's not a good thing. All we need to do, boys and girls, is go over, turn the heat off to it, take the lid, and carefully put it over the pan, and the fire will go out, right? Do not put water, do not put salt, do not put baking soda. Turn the heat off on the stove and put the lid on the pot. The fire will go out. And most importantly, call 911. That's what we're here for, okay? All right, now let's move over to one of my favorite spots, the laundry room, right? And I always love this one. When we used to do this in person, I ask all my friends, how many of you guys, right, do laundry at home? And all their hands would go up. Okay? You guys probably don't do too much laundry at home, okay? But let's talk about it. So down here in the laundry room, we have our washer and dryer. Now, a couple things we need to do. So our clothes, when we wash them, obviously they get wet, and we need to put them in the dryer. When we put them in the dryer, these little itty bitty fibers come off. And those little itty bitty fibers turn into this right here, my friends. This is called lint. Now, think about lint like a snowflake, right? So one snowflake, not a real big deal, looks pretty. A billion snowflakes, then we got a problem, right? So one little piece of lint is not that big of a deal, but a bunch of lint inside of the dryer can be a very big deal. So that's why we need to act as teachers to our adults at home and remind them that every time we use the dryer, we need to clean the lint out, right? The other thing we need to keep in mind is that every 6 months, we need to clean the dryer vent out. So on the back of our dryer, we usually have a vent that goes out to the outside of our home. Every 6 months, we need to clean that out, my friends. Very, very important. Okay, so, because if we don't, right, that's what happens. You can get a fire in your dryer, and we do not want that to happen at all, okay? Very important. So, all the time, when we go to use the dryer, we clean the lint out, and every 6 months, my friends, we want to make sure we clean the back of that dryer vent out. All right, you guys are doing really good so far. I want to talk to you about a couple things. Let's talk about our bedroom doors. So when we go to bed at night, right, there are many of us that will sleep with our bedroom door open, right? Just like that. Well, guess what? That's not always a good thing, because if something happens in the middle of the night and smoke starts, that smoke is going to come right through your room. Now remember, boys and girls, right? The heat, the smoke, and the nasty gases that I've always talked about in the past, those stay right up here, right? But if we're sleeping, right, the heat, the smoke, and the nasty gases can actually hurt us. So what we want you folks to do is sleep with the door closed. Now, do we know what to do in the middle of the night if we hear this sound? Right? My friends, that's the sound of a smoke detector. And I'm willing to bet every single one of you have a smoke detector in your house. So when we hear that smoke detector go off, right, we're gonna get out of bed. So my friend right here, he's sleeping soundly, he's heard that smoke detector go off, he's gonna get out of bed and he's gonna come over. Now, boys and girls, this is very important. At this point, we don't open the door, right? We want to take this side, the back side of our hand, my friends, take that and feel that door. Now, boys and girls, if that door is hot, we don't open it, okay? We don't open it at all. Then, at that point, my friend right here, because that door's hot, is going, time to stay low and go. Remember, we've talked about that before? He's staying low to the ground. Why? Because the heat, the smoke, and the nasty gases are up here, and he's heading over towards his window. Now, boys and girls, when we talk about that, right, the door is our first way out. But do you think it's okay to have just one way out of our house? My friends, it's not. You have to have 2 ways out of every room in your home. So my friend knew I can't go out this way. I'm gonna stay low and go, and head over to my second way out, which is a window. And boys and girls, regardless if you live on the second or third or even fourth floor of a building, a window is always a second way out. All right, boys and girls, another very important fire safety piece of equipment here, smoke detectors. And we briefly talked about it when we took the tour of my house here. Most everybody here in Milford has smoke detectors in their homes, all right? Now, it's that special time of year where we actually need to change the batteries inside of our smoke detector, all right? Now, we're gonna do this with the adults in our home, right? We're gonna put the new batteries in, and we're also gonna do the same thing in the springtime. So every 6 months, my friend, we wanna make sure that we are changing the batteries in our smoke detectors. And at the end, after we put the batteries in, we need to test it. All right, so that's working. Now, another very important piece of safety equipment that everybody needs to have in their home is called a carbon monoxide detector. Now, boys and girls, carbon monoxide is a gas that you can't see, you can't smell, and you can't taste. So it's very important that you have a carbon monoxide detector within your home. Now, carbon monoxide detectors need to have the batteries changed, just like smoke detectors, every 6 months. And remember, this is where we act as teachers to the adults in our home. The detectors are only good for 5 years. So after 5 years, we have to replace the carbon monoxide detectors. And for smoke detectors, these are only good for 10 years, right? So after 10 years in our home, we have to replace the smoke detectors. These are very, very, very important pieces of safety equipment that can help save your lives by either giving you early warning to a fire or letting you know that you have a gas in your home that can make you very sick and hurt you. All right, my friends, so because we're not always in school all the time anymore and we're at home about half of the time, we're gonna discuss fire safety plans in our home. So just like we do fire drills in school, we need to come up with a plan on how to get out of our house. And it's very important. And this is a great family activity to sit down, and it really only takes 5 or 10 minutes. But those short 5 or 10 minutes can make a huge difference in the event of a fire emergency in your home. That's why it's very, very important to have this plan. So, what's in our plan? Well, we're gonna draw a picture of our house. All right, here's my front door. Now, on that picture of our house, we need to kind of show where the rooms are. So let's say here and here. All right, so right. This is our kitchen right here, and this is our living room. Now, so we have the rooms in our house, my friends. We have our doorways, right? Then we need to make sure that we show where the windows are. All right, so put a window here, put a window here, here. Now, right, we have the windows, we have our doors, right? So, have our house, we have our rooms, we have all of our windows and our doors. Now, this is where it becomes really important. Now, we have to be able to show 2 ways out, boys and girls, of every room in our home. So, there's one way. And there's 2. All right? So remember what I said before and how important it is to have 2 ways out of every room. Because as we showed you in my house earlier, one way could be blocked. So, we have our house, we have our rooms. we have 2 ways out of every room in our house. Now this is probably the most important part of our plan. We have to have a place on the outside of our house that we go to meet. And it's simply called a meeting place. Now, a meeting place can be anything you want it to be. It could be a mailbox, it could be your neighbor's house, it could be a special tree in your yard, but you have to show it on our plan. So mine is gonna be a big tree over at my house. Now, why is a meeting place so important? Well, if I'm sitting over your house, hanging out, and all of a sudden the smoke detectors go out. Now, one of my friends is gonna go out the front door. Let's say I go out the back door. Well, if we don't have a meeting place, my friend's not gonna know that I got out safe, and I'm not gonna know that my friend got out safe. The meeting place is important because no matter which way you leave the house, my friends, you're all gonna end up at the same spot. And then when we show up in the big red trucks, you're gonna be able to tell us everybody's out of the house. Okay? So this is really simple, and this did not take a very long time. But this short 5 or 10 minutes right here can make a huge difference, like I said. Now, once we're all done with this, do we just hang it on the wall or put it on the fridge? No, we don't. We have to practice it. Boys and girls, just like we practice fire drills inside of school, we have to practice fire drills when we're at home. Now, believe it or not, some of you may have been doing some remote learning, and the teachers have said, we're having a fire drill at school. Guess what, boys and girls? If we're doing a fire drill at school, you can do a fire drill at home. It only takes 3 or 5 minutes, okay? But you have to practice this plan. Boys and girls, every year I talk to you about it, right? What happens when we practice something? We become better at it, all right? So, have to practice the plan and do it as a family, right? It's fun. All right, very simple. And I really want all of you boys and girls to do this, all right? I know it won't be the same because I won't be able to see all of your wonderful maps like I do every year, and I love looking at them and grading them. But if you could please let your teachers know that you have done them, that's very, very important for us to know that. All right, boys and girls, I am here with one of my good friends, Firefighter Joey. His last name's Coffee, so we call him Decaf here in the firehouse. And today what we're gonna do is show you some of the funny stuff that firefighters have to wear, because let's face it, as I am dressed, we are dressed right now, we are not ready to go get on a fire truck and go fight a fire. So we have to wear some funny stuff to protect us from the heat and the smoke and the nasty gases. So, first things first, we have our gear. Now, what's kind of cool over here is our boots and our pants are kind of attached. So we get to put them on pretty quickly. Check this out, right? We don't have to tie our boots, we have zippers. So Joey's gonna go ahead and put his pants on. Now, you'll notice that we do have suspenders to help hold these pants up because this gear gets kind of heavy, all right? Right here, you'll notice we have these giant knee pads. Boys and girls, when we go into fires as firefighters, we are staying low. Just like we teach you to stay low and go, we are doing the same thing. Because even with all this special stuff on to protect us, we still want to stay down low where the cool air is and stay away from that heat, the smoke, and the nasty gases. Next, Joey's going to put on his hood. Now this hood is very important. Number one, this one keeps a lot of the smoke stuff away from our skin. It also protects our head, our ears, and the back of our neck from the effects of heat inside of a fire. Okay? Now we have the coat. Now a couple cool things about all of our gear and our coat, right? We have, you'll notice, reflective striping. So if we are inside of a building and our flashlights are going, right, because we can't really see, it'll bounce off of this and reflect right back at us so we know where our partner's at. All right, so, you think he's ready yet? Because he's not. Now comes the pretty cool part. So this right here is an air pack. It really is, think of it just as an expensive backpack, boys and girls. Now inside of this tank right here is regular air like we're breathing right now. We just used a special machine to get it in there. And inside of this bottle, there is 30 minutes worth of air. Now, that's 30 minutes if we're just kind of sitting around chilling, right, Joe?
Yep.
If we're working really hard, it may last 15 or 20 minutes. So we have to make sure we know how much air we have, or how long it takes us to get into the building and how long it's going to take us to get back out. So that's where this tank is. All right. So Joe's going to put the air pack on. And boys and girls, these look a little different than the air packs that we've had in years past. We actually just got these brand new this year. All right, so he's got his air pack on. Now he's gonna turn his bottle on. You're gonna hear a vibrate, and then you're gonna hear 3 beeps. All right, so now he has air on. Now Joe's gonna turn around for me. Now another cool thing, boys and girls, that we have on our air pack, you ever look up in the sky at night, right? You look for airplanes, how do you know when they're there? You got little blinky lights on the tails and on the wings of the airplane. We have the same type of little blinky lights, same type of blinky lights on our air pack. So when we're crawling around inside of a building, we know where our partner's at. And this right here is also reflective. All right, Joe. So, next, firefighter Joey is gonna put his mask on. Now wait 1 second before you do that. Boys and girls, take a good look at Joe. And I want you to use your brain up here, and I want you to take a picture with your brain and remember what Joe's face looks like. All right?
That's scary.
Remember what his face looks like, because he has to put a special mask on. All right, Joe, go ahead and put it on. All right, so now he's got his mask and his hood on. Now the mask is very important. That keeps the good air in that we're breathing from our tank. It protects our face, our nose, and our mouth, right? And our eyes. Keeps all that heat and smoke and nasty gases away from us. All right, grab your helmet, Joe. Then he's gonna put his helmet on. Now the helmets are very important because that protects our head, because things can fall and we can bang into stuff when we're inside of a building. All right. Then he's gonna put his gloves on. Boys and girls, this is not fun to wear in the middle of June, July, and August. All right, boys and girls, very important. This is what a firefighter looks like when they're all dressed up. But more importantly, this is what they sound like. So if you, my friends, are ever stuck inside of a fire and you hear this noise, do not be scared. This is the good guys coming to get you. So that's why we show you, because we don't want you to be scared of any of this. Because none of it is scary at all. Right? All right, Joe, you're good. Thanks, my friends, for helping to take the time to keep you and your families fire safe.